begin. And just to begin with, we always have to say things like this these days. If you can please turn off your cell phones. We appreciate it. My name is Don, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jim's youngest son. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today to celebrate my dad's life. Friends and family meant the world to me. My mother, May, is here, and she will say a few words at the end of the program. My sister, Denise, is here with her husband, Steve, and son, Adam. My brother, Rob, is here with his daughter, Andrea, and his son, James. My dad's sisters are both here. Wilma from Oregon is accompanied by her son, Jay. Her son, Sean, sent his regrets from Florida for not being able to attend. My dad's sister, Phyllis, is here from Vancouver, accompanied by her daughter, Judy, son, Kevin, and his wife, Anne, and son, Ian, and his wife, Heather, and daughter, Shannon. We'd also like to welcome Mayor Corcoran and council members, current and past, who honor my dad's service on Campus City Council. And I'd like to thank Constable Mike Perry of the RCMP and the representatives from the RCMP auxiliaries, whose presence honors my dad's 13 years as an RCMP auxiliary officer. My dad always talked about being positive, so we're going to have this gathering his way. He didn't always have it easy, but he was a good man who had a good life. There's a lot to celebrate in that, so we're going to have a celebration today. He wanted you to leave remembering and sharing his zest for life. We think this venue is particularly appropriate as he was so involved with promoting recreation and because of his love of nature. After I finish speaking, I'll invite the grandkids to come up and light candles. Then we'll have my cousin Judy come up and read a short poem. After Judy's reading, we'll have a brief slideshow of photos of my dad throughout his life set to the song he requested. There are many photos there from his days before he arrived in Nanaimo, a part of his life unfamiliar to most of you. It's hard to come up with a good eulogy for someone, and my dad wanted to keep the mood as light as possible, so we've asked a number of friends and family to come up and share their thoughts and memories for about 5 minutes each. Then we'll open the floor for more stories if there's time. The whole thing should take about an hour. After people tell their stories, we'll break for food and refreshments, and we'll play more of his favorite songs and show more images while people linger. I was surprised while going through his music at the wide variety he liked, from Enya to Beethoven. I'm looking forward to the stories. I've got mine, of course. My dad and I did a lot of fun things together over the years, dozens and dozens of outings, and of course that included fishing. In 2001, when he was 70, we went to the Queen Charlotte's to go fishing. We were out on the ocean in our survival suits in this little 16-foot open aluminum boat on a day with a little bit of chalk. And if you have a copy of the program, that photo was taken on that day. We packed up our rods at the end of the day, and I got ready to run the boat, sitting back by the outboard motor. Suddenly, he stood up in the bow, holding the bow line in both hands, and put his feet apart and said, "Okay, go!" I sat there kind of stunned and said, "What are you doing?" And he replied, "I'm going to ride it in like a surfboard." So we argued about it for a few minutes, and I lost, of course. So there we went, bouncing across the waves, my 7-year-old father whooping it up, and the watch his safety boat in chase. While illness may have limited him, he never thought of himself as old. He was like a big kid in the sense that he was always looking for a way to have fun. His attitude towards life was also, to use one of his favorite expressions, to take the bull by the horns. He was a doer. He could also be surprisingly supportive. There was the time he taught me to drive. Before I took off on Jigglebot Road in his car, he gave me a somber lecture on how bad I'd feel if I didn't pay attention and a kid ran onto the road or something. Of course, being 16, I went way too fast in that first drive, and he sat there in the passenger seat, rigid but calmly telling me to slow down. I pulled over after a while. He said I did okay for a first drive, and I thought so too, until we switched places and I found he'd ripped the phone cover right off the armrest. About a year later, I got into an accident at the high school parking lot, and I was devastated at damaging his prized car. He came out while I was looking down at it from our sun deck, and he said with a smile, putting his hand on my shoulder, "The main thing is that you're okay. The car's just a thing," and he walked away. I appreciated his kindness, but I thought it was puzzling that he was smiling until I remembered that his only accident occurred when he piled his father's new Buick into a telephone pole. He had fallen asleep at the wheel after his first date with a special young woman by the name of Vicar. You'll see in these photos that my dad smiled and laughed a lot, and my strongest memories will always be of all the laughs we had doing absolutely nothing. He would never hesitate to be silly if it meant a laugh. He had an easy way of lightening the mood in the room, and he never felt sorry for himself. He could do fewer things in recent years, but I noticed he seemed to smile and laugh more easily, and he made sure we knew how much he cared about us. And he cared about you. He wanted to laugh out loud, talk to some friends, and leave with a smile on your face. My dad was a doer, so I'd say the best ways to keep his memory alive are to make your own fun to lighten the load while you contribute to the community. I saw a quote the other day that reminded me of him. The most wasted day is that in which one has not laughed. I would say that my dad had very few wasted days, and my guess is that you wasted fewer because of him. Thank you. And would Adam, Andrea, and James please light the candles?